Hi there, it's good to see you. My name is Rotterdamus, and this is my very first video of me talking directly to you. First, before I start, I will be completely honest. English is not my native language, so please excuse me if I make mistakes or say something that is not proper. Now, let's talk about stuff. Something which I like in games. What I choose and how I choose to play games. As you can already see, I'm playing Elden Ring Night Rain. But I am not the typical player character. On the contrary, I'm playing as this beautiful lady who is just attacking an AI Marvel soldier. And yet he doesn't come back and fight for some reason. Maybe I screwed something while activating one of my many scripts on my mod. But let's talk in general, not about this mod you see currently. Surely I like to play as different characters.
Artorias.
I like to explore the game as a different characters, not just the one character developers give me. So I make sure to make mods for games which make this possible. Back then I started with the PSP titles, Dynasty Warriors, Warriors Orgy, Mortal Kombat, Taken. Compared to the current games, they were like simpletons. Not too hard to mod, yet hard because the tools back then were very limited. We were using basically recording devices, cheat devices. It's not that I don't use any more cheat devices. Currently, Cheat Engine is the cheat king of all the modding devices for games. It's not anymore a device, it's just a program you just run and attach to the process of the game you play. And then load the table and have some fun. Definitely, in my opinion, the Souls games have very unique boss characters. But when it comes to me, I don't just like playing as boss characters. I like playing even as normal regular sized enemies. Or just the so-called foot soldiers. Every single character in those games, in my opinion, has something unique behind it. Just take a look at this Howl soldier. He has his own unique moveset. You can never access as a player character. And each of his animations feel unique. Each NPC character in the Souls franchise feels unique, not a generic. Especially when it comes to Dark Souls franchise. So when I first put Dark Souls many years ago, the Prepare to Die edition for the Windows PC, I found out that there is a code called debug, which was so-called leaked, and it allows the player to use functions and toggle options which were never probably meant for a player to use. Those were options meant for developers of the game to test various things. One of those options is the developer control toggle, which many of you call debug control. But the title itself, the name debug, must tell you something. It was not meant for continuous playing as enemies, rather than you test their animations, reactions, and everything. And even then, all you could do were several attacks mapped to the Xbox controller because the debug menu was meant and intended to be used only with an Xbox controller setup. And then again, you have the attacks mapped for each of the face buttons of the Xbox controller. And what you can do is press those buttons, and your entity should be doing different attacks. But compared to the AI control, you cannot cancel any of these attacks into a combos. And on top of that, you're limited to the very attacks mapped to the current layout of the controller. Example, if the buttons of the Xbox controller, which are meant for attacking, are like 8, including the D-pad buttons, which are meant for dodge animations, you totally probably have like 8 possible skills. While most of the enemies in Dark Souls have much more. Basically, you cannot assess all the attacks and the abilities the NPC you control has. So I first started debug control, and I had no fun. But then again, I decided to possess some of the large enemies like Tier 0 Demon. Oh, that was a real challenge. The camera itself was the hardest thing I have ever had in a game. I couldn't see anything because of his fat, beep beep. And on top of that, most of the attacks I liked were not accessible because of the very same limitations I told you about. So I started. Let's change all of this. Let's make the control a real fun, like a feature, not some stuff meant for testing, but some stuff that's actually making the game more fun and enjoyable in offline play in a single player. The things I started working was making sure that I could access all the attacks, and I found out how. It was simple. What came next was the camera. All of these were parts of the debug menu itself. If you dig enough in the options and everything in the menus, you could probably find out the sources of everything you need to modify, and then map it to Cheat Engine. Easy as cake, it sounds, right? But then again, it came out with some limitations. For example, when you control an entity via the debug menu, your player character is not signed to that entity. What happens is that if you move too far away from your player character, which is not currently in your control, but is left standing idle, the entity you control will disappear because it crosses the loading area border around your player character again, not the camera itself. So, what I had to do is basically make sure that the entity we control is not despawned. And what I had to do is attach the player character to it, just like every single professional developer will do when it comes to switching control of the characters. Very similar to how Elden Ring Night Rain actually treats the Executor transformation, where basically the Executor character gets attached to his so-called beast form, which actually is another entity in the game, and not a real transformation. But with the years of modding, I gained so much experience that I probably would expect everything of that. When you start modding a game, you need to learn how its engine operates and how the game actually works. Many people have asked me back then, how do I do this? How do I learn to do this? And I say it's not just a simple toggle you do. You need to first understand how the game operates
Smelter Demon.
before
Demon Prince
you
Demon
start
Untamed.
modding it. You need to learn which and where it is stored in the memory of the game. And that's how I started modding. I first learned how the engine of Dark Souls 1 works, and then I started searching for possible fixes and solutions when it comes to playing as enemies in the game. Solutions which prevent despawning, solutions that give me complete control over the entity, how it turns around, how it targets the enemies, and how I do attacks. Basically, I had to map all the possible attacks to the controller, but on the same time allow freedom, so you can cancel each of those attacks anytime and do another one, thus giving you the ability not only to do attacks at any time, but create your own very combos. And that's how it progressed. From something that was meant for just testing purposes, it basically turned out into a full-fledged mod, where you can play as different enemies. Later then, with Dark Souls 3, I found a way how to shapeshift enemies on the go. And then I worked on Dark Souls Remastered and gave it a shapeshift system, much like the one you currently see in this very video.
Evrarch Harmonious Spear. Traitorous Stratus the Dreadlord.
It replaces the entity you play as on the go. Still, some limits apply, all thanks to how the game engine handles modding different enemies, but as you can see, it's much functional, and it is working. So this is one of the ways I like playing games, honestly, and to be fair, it gives real fun, because I can experience the game from a very different eyes, not just my default player character. In Elden Ring Night Rain, we do not have a debug control, so-called debug control. What I'm doing is controlling the AI itself. And actually, in my very opinion, this is much better than the developer control, because entities handle when controlled by AI, which is controlled by me. They handle much better because they have a real head tracking function, much like the player character. Their heads turn on the enemy characters they face, and this also allows aligning their physical attacks according to where the entity they target is. This unfortunately doesn't work with the developer. What they meant to test there was just the attacks, the animations, and the reactions behind every single attack for enemy. Maybe grab attacks as well. But let's change the topic now a bit. I don't speak just generally for Elden Ring. I speak for every game I have enjoyed. I don't like stuff which I cannot access as a player, because I want the game to be fun. And seeing stuff I cannot use makes me, well, kinda not feel okay with the game, no matter how fun it is. Surely I don't talk about being challenged, or maybe being an overpowered boss, like the Dreadlord here. I'm talking about having fun and experiencing the game with the feeling I'm not limited into something I want. And trust me, it's way more fun being able to enjoy the game the way you want. After all, a game is meant for fun, not to make you feel limited, unless you like real challenges, to which I can understand this. As for myself, because I'm talking about myself here, I enjoy games and playing as different characters, how I want. On the PS2 era, there were many titles which had very fun, unique NPC characters. Mortal Kombat games are one of those. The boss character in most of the PS2 age Mortal Kombat titles was always a locked character, not playable. Back then it was just very easy to swap a 2-digit byte and play as that character. Then it came Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. Again, the character modifier itself isn't something hard, but what comes is the ability to access all the possible attacks an NPC character has. Some of the boss characters, like Shao Kahn for example, their very most powerful and famous skills were locked behind AI input only. So I had to figure out how to actually trigger those attacks. And I remember finding the way. Then some nasty people, like Gamer Sub-Zero, came, used my knowledge, took it, and made some videos claiming that they were the ones who made this, which of course wasn't true. But I didn't pay them attention, nor would I. That was many years ago, and still this guy continues to use my stuff and knowledge, which I share it with him, and never credit me. So that speaks for himself, and you can already see what I'm talking about. But again, I'm not going to pursue him, or whatever the name of the word is. To me, the best fun thing is this. Have a freedom in your game, enjoy it the way you want, have some fun, play the game, feel some fun, enjoy the game with friends, play it online, whatever, and then go outside, enjoy the real life. That's what a game should be. But unfortunately, with the last years, we have seen a big decline into all of this. Many titles coming not finished, not polished, not quality assurance tested, and in the end, we experience glitches, bugs, and stuff that breaks the immersion of the game. But that alone will be for a different video. So, you now know what I'm doing and why I'm doing all of this stuff you see here. And I would like to ask you, what do you think of this? Would you like to be able to play as different characters in the games? Experience the game from a different perspective? Or maybe not just characters, have some different freedom and what it is. Tell me in the comments what do you think of everything I just shared with you. I would like to see your comments. If you enjoy my channel, just subscribe, click the like button and the bell notification button, and I thank you for this support. If you want to support me, my Patreon link is in the description. Again, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos from me if you enjoyed them. And again, sorry for my English.